Blacklist Hunter here, and today we're going to talk about Kid Hisoka and why he was on that next level. A while back we got Hisoka's backstory, and it was not made by Togashi but from the author of Tokyo Ghoul, and the legend Togashi approved it to be released because he actually liked it a lot. And the author of Tokyo Ghoul is in reality a old Hunter x Hunter fan, and I gotta say I really like this version of Hisoka's Past. It was done very well, although the art is kinda bad to be fair. So the story starts like this. Teen Hisoka is laying down in the middle of the street all beat up, and then a group of people led by an old man named Moritonio see that Hisoka is still breathing, and so Moritonio asks Hisoka if he can speak, and so Hisoka states his name. Moritonio tells Hisoka that he is a traveling performer. So these events take place in a city called Glam Glass Land, or also known as the pleasure capital. It may be that this is where Hisoka was born. So this city is northeast of York New City, and for years it was a poor city. However, once gas was discovered, it became a very rich city due to the management of the profits from selling this high demand resource. Many casinos were built, and in order to attract more people and guests, they hired people to perform shows, and this is where the old man Moritonio, who took Hisoka in, comes to light, because Moritonio was a traveling performer and he had his own group performing all kinds of tricks. And here we see Hisoka sitting and chewing his favorite gum, of course the bungee gum. So this show business was booming in the hotels of the Glam Glass Land, and here Hisoka is watching closely the group of Moritonio perform all kinds of tricks because they are quite talented at their craft. Most people know them and they are excited to see especially Moritonio perform. The most unbelievable trick to these people is the one performed by Moritonio, where he basically sky swims. He walks on the roof of the place upside down. So in reality this feat cannot be performed without Nen, and here is what happens. Next we are introduced to this girl Abaki, who is about Hisoka's age, and she is doing chores, and Hisoka just walks up to her and says hi. Next the group is discussing on whether to keep Hisoka around or not, and Moritonio states that he himself was once a pickpocketer pretending to be a shoe shiner, and the dude that was against letting Hisoka stay in the troupe was once homeless himself. So this circus group had a really important show coming up, the Royal Glam Performance, and it was so popular it could give Moritonio and the rest their time to get extremely well known, their time to shine. So next Hisoka shows up and Moritonio asks him if he can do any tricks at all, and it turns out Hisoka can do card tricks. Even Moritonio admits that he is even better than him, and the one who taught Hisoka all these card tricks was actually his own mother, and Hisoka is really talented. So Moritonio tells Hisoka that a talent is worth its weight in gold, so basically saying to Hisoka that talent is really important and he should polish it. Next we see that this girl Abaki that wasn't introduced before, about Hisoka's age, is actually being trained on using Nen by Moritonio himself, and Abaki cannot concentrate on her 10 because she is worried that Hisoka may be some bad guy since he was all beat up and he was laying down on the street. So Moritonio says that he wants to help Hisoka since he cannot drive off people who have no home or support. So basically he feels really bad for Hisoka. Next Abaki stares at Hisoka, and of course she likes Hisoka because Hisoka has that aura and he is a handsome fellow, and Hisoka is literally creating a house of cards and destroying it. So he had issues since he was a teenager. Hisoka didn't change overnight, he was a menace since a kid. So now we get to the good part. Moritonio and Abaki are walking in the market and they are talking that a serial killer named the 100-Faced John Doe is going on a rampage all around the city. So this person Doe is committing all these crimes, but his face changes all the time, but it's confirmed by the authorities that all these endings are from the same person. So Moritonio says that Doe is clearly a master of disguise and he purposefully allows his appearance to be caught by the camera. So it turns out Doe likes the attention he is receiving from the authorities. He gets the excitement. So Moritonio tells Abaki to be careful at night on the streets. The next day one of the group's members gets injured and Hisoka volunteers to do the juggling in his place, and the one dude who hates Hisoka doesn't believe he can do it, and Moritonio asks Hisoka if he is serious or not, as he doesn't have any juggling abilities. But Hisoka was so smart and so talented that by observing the jugglers he managed to learn it pretty fast just by observing. So this dude who hates Hisoka named Yasuda wants to humiliate Hisoka when the show is on because he is annoyed how talented Hisoka is at everything. So Hisoka does his first show in his life in front of all the people, and Abaki is worried about him. So Yasuda, the one who doesn't like Hisoka, is annoyed at how well Hisoka is doing because it took him 12 years to learn the juggling skills, and Hisoka learned it in a week or so. So Hisoka was a monster. So he tries to throw Hisoka off balance, but Hisoka manages to catch it by reflex alone, and this broke Yasuda's will so much he was crushed so badly that after the performance he left the troupe forever. Many members of the troupe then started to fear Hisoka might copy their skills, so they began to practice in secret, and this is why Hisoka was such a menace. Literally, he is great at everything he does, on a whole different level than Gon and Killua. I truly believe personally that Hisoka was 1 in 100 million talent, even though the long-term potential might be lower than Gon and Killua. So Hisoka tells Moritonio that he wants to steal his sky swimming, and Moritonio tells him that he won't be teaching that to him anytime soon because it's a whole different thing entirely, meaning Nen. And Hisoka tells Moritonio that maybe it has something to do with the wispy stuff flowing around his body, meaning his aura. So Hisoka as a kid could see aura. He was such a genius and had such talent and high observation skills, he could actually see aura. Next, Moritonio explains to Hisoka that it's called Nen and that everyone has aura, even Hisoka himself. And so Hisoka notices that Moritonio's aura is more full than his, and he tells Hisoka that he has spent time polishing it by training. Next, we see Abaki, the student of Moritonio, the girl, perform Ren, and Hisoka is quite surprised. Moritonio tells Hisoka that it will take him a year to master 10 and 3 years to get to Abaki's level. So Hisoka starts learning Nen weekly, and Abaki tells Hisoka that Moritonio once wanted to be a hunter, but when he took the test he failed and only one person passed. That could be Jing, however nothing is confirmed. Moritonio's will was broken so much by Jing that he never attempted again. He saw somebody with such insane talent that it broke his spirit totally. However, Abaki explains that Moritonio has the dream to teach somebody with talent Nen to become just like the one who passed the exam. So Abaki's dream was to make Moritonio proud and pass the hunter exam. Hisoka even offers Abaki some bungee gum to calm her excitement. So Hisoka was so monstrous with such talent, he learned Tenin Ren in 1 week, which surprised both Moritonio and Abaki. Next, Moritonio explained the fundamentals of Nen, and Hisoka is quite attentive and continues to ask questions, ultimately taking the water divination test to see which Nen category he falls into. So Moritonio turns out is a transmuter, Abaki a emitter, while Hisoka of course a enhancer. So Hisoka can change the properties of his aura. So Moritonio instructs both of them to keep training, and next we see Abaki walking during the night, and there he is, the 100-faced doe, doing his thing. So Abaki activates her aura and enhances with aura a steel rope, attacking the serial killer 100-faced John Doe. Turns out John Doe can use Nen as well, and he is even stronger than Abaki. But as soon as she is about to get hurt by John Doe, Hisoka intervenes and manages to slice the face of 100-faced Doe and save Abaki from him. And Hisoka felt something weird about this guy. Something felt weird when he slashed his face with a card. Hisoka then even manages to create a Hatsu in a short period of time, turning his aura into the both properties of rubber and gum. Next, there was one final performance by Moritonio and his troupe. The performance was so magnificent they received lots and lots of applause. Moritonio is then shown staying alone, thinking, and Hisoka walks up to him. Moritonio tells Hisoka how it's lonely after a show, and sometimes even the magician is under his own spell, and he tells Hisoka the plans for the future of the troupe. He wants to entrust Hisoka with even more huge projects, but ultimately he asks Hisoka why he was laying down in the middle of the road all beat up that day they found him, and Hisoka simply tells him that he doesn't enjoy talking about the past, and this is even stated in the Castor fight. So Moritonio tells him they can be transparent about each other. So ultimately Hisoka asks Moritonio if his eye has healed, stating that he is John Doe, the 100-faced murderer. He even tricks Moritonio by telling him that his face is peeling. Hisoka had paid attention that somehow Moritonio had changed his face by using Nen. Moritonio then reveals who he truly is and why he became that way. Basically, all this time we thought Moritonio was good, but he is a lunatic. He was a lunatic since he was young. Hisoka tells him that he doesn't care what or who he is, but time has come to take action. Hisoka declares a battle to the death with Moritonio. He activates his aura and throws a card at him. Moritonio though is a lot faster and he punches Hisoka. Hisoka. Moritonio then decides to show Hisoka how he changes faces, and it's basically just like texture surprise of Hisoka. He applies a simple scarf and uses his aura to change the texture, creating a different face. Hisoka then is crushed by something he can't see, and it turns out they are aura steel magnets produced by the Hatsu of Moritonio. So Hisoka, in the midst of battle, manages to learn Gyo and seal the magnetic pillars transmuted by Moritonio, and finally figures out how Moritonio uses the ability. Moritonio even states that Hisoka has an ominous talent, and this is a really strong statement about Hisoka, and it is true, it really fits him. So Moritonio finally activates his ability Hatsu, Steel Blood Magnet. He can turn his aura into magnetic steel pillars. So he attacks Hisoka full force. However, Hisoka manages to get behind him and do the same trick, the sky swimming, that Moritonio has performed all his life. And this shocks Moritonio so much, he thought Hisoka copied his ability and his skills. Ultimately, Hisoka attached bungee gum to the steel pillars of Moritonio while he was shocked and distracted, and contracted them to Moritonio's body, ultimately ending Moritonio the 100-faced serial murderer. Hisoka calls his ability bungee gum elastic love, and after Moritonio was laying all finished, Hisoka decided to do one more thing. He copied Moritonio's ability, transmuted the scarf into another face, and left the troupe forever. While finally Abaka is shown wondering where Hisoka and Moritonio had went. I have to say, this story was pretty awesome. It was so well done, and when I first saw this backstory a couple years ago, I was so fascinated by it. It was so cool, and it really fit Hisoka. It even added more mystery to Hisoka's character. And I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, subscribe, and let's reach 1000 subscribers, and check out my other Hunter x Hunter content.